Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning into this video. And we have another one of our speakers for the Spirit Heart Cruise who was on our 2019 cruise. I've worked with several times throughout the year since the Spirit Heart Cruise. I'd like to welcome Akasha Man or Jason Antalek. Hi, Jason. How are you?
Hey Jeremy, I'm so excited to share about the cruise. We have so many stories within the stories here.
Yeah, I mean, I love it when synchronicity just starts to come together and how we just start to see, in retrospect, how that's affected a lot of people's lives. And so that's what I would like to chat about here a little bit. But let's start off. How did you get into this spiritual, metaphysical, healer, Akashic records expert world? How did you get into this?
Wow, expert. Thank you for that introduction. The Akashic Records is kind of my bread and butter. That's the logic that has helped me understand the universe in a different way, and it showed up in my world when I really needed it. That's about 8, 10 years ago now. About 10 years ago, I started really hearing about it, and then about eight after a pretty nasty head injury 8 years ago, I started studying and I was healing. So I was learning and healing. So that's where the Akashic Records really inserted. I've always been an entrepreneur. I always like to have the freedom. That's where a lot of, I think, my intuition and such started, pushing lawnmowers up and down the street, knocking on doors. And then I got very interested in elemental magic and astrology and the stars, those kinds of things. Just the thinking that was beyond what I was hearing in school or in my friends. And as that grew, I just kind of followed the pathway. And as it came together, the Akashic Records really helped me narrow in what I was doing and get down to some very specific messaging and what I love in my world. And now that I'm living on purpose with it, it brings all the facets of the different things I've had together in one place, and it's turned into this kind of skyrocket recently. I'm like riding a rocket ship or a bunch of crazy waves that I wasn't even sure I could ride before. So it's been really interesting, and the Spirit Heart cruise was a huge part of that.
Yeah, it's interesting because we left on that, I believe, on September 29th of 2019. And we were just on another event that was February 19th. So that 19 is in there. And I believe that was another catalyst for pushing our lives in a direction. It's like we had let
I,
go
I
enough
can
to
see
do.
that. And then the Law of Attraction event was on the 18th. 8 and 1 is 9. And the upcoming event we have in Colorado Springs is on 9/9.
Yeah, yeah,
It's,
yeah, yeah. So
uh,
there's just a lot of
maybe
cool
there's a
stuff.
trend. We'll just pay attention. All right.
Well, my very first retreat I ever taught was on April 19th of 2009. So
Neat.
yeah, so something pretty cool. So yeah, so you were in this world, and then you started, doing your own healing. So this comes into this next cruise because now we're what 5 years later.
We
So we're
are.
in that change year, and I do believe that we're at the end of this particular change year for five. What are you going to be speaking about on the cruise?
Akashic Records, as I said, is how I see everything, and
Yeah,
through that lens of the kind of universal database of energy and experiences that's out there. When we get specific to someone's Akashic record, which is essentially the journey of their soul from the beginning, the
yeah.
blueprint within that shows our talents, our skills, our challenges, and what I'm speaking about is more specifically the superpowers that are available when we have a logical view of what drives our soul. What are the characteristics that have us thinking, acting, reacting, right, in what we're doing to have our unique experience. And the Akashic Records holds a lot of information. This is about getting very specific into what it is for each individual soul that they can align with and apply in their world to recognize not only the superpowers that they already may have developed and grasp for themselves, But a lot of them that I find all the time in students, clients, my friends, when we talk about it, we have some of our gifts miscategorized. They're sort of
Mm,
thrown over in this pile of something else, and within those pieces really are additional superpowers. And what I love to do is point those out, put them in a context where someone can relate to it, and give them an additional perspective to the one they have, and a lot of times they just turn it around right then and there. For me, it's the proof is in the logic, right? And we're
mm,
connecting the ethereal, the unseen, with some kind of practical application. And my talk, Akashic Records to Superpowers, does exactly that.
wonderful. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be absolutely fascinating. Are you going to be doing sessions on the cruise as well?
I
Akashic
probably
Record
will
reading?
be doing sessions on the cruise. The last time we did that, it was so much fun for me. It's such a goofy story though, because one of those days, here I am reading, right, and I was fortunate enough to have a view while I'm doing it, and we're cruising across the Caribbean, and the readings were really, really good. I was like, "Ooh, the water's neat," and then I was kind of drained afterwards. About halfway through the day, I went down to Central Park on the ship, the Harmony of the Seas, because that's what we were on, right? Which is what we're on this time. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go with a little residual fun here is still there for us. But I had to go down to Central Park and hug a tree for a little bit. What I found at the end of that day was I was reading through the Bermuda Triangle. Is that a
Uh,
factor? I don't know, but I kind of know why I might have been a little on and off at the same time. So yeah, sessions on the ship, especially in my favorite area of it is the solarium. Oh, it's so peaceful up there. To meet with folks and have a conversation, yeah, I think really good sessions probably are something that occur in a one-on-one after a little bit of a relationship is built. I absolutely will have a conversation and read for folks while we're there.
Wonderful, wonderful. And thank you so much. And tell me, I mean, you've already talked a little bit about it, but could we kind of go into what your experience was in the 2019 cruise, what that did for you going forward in your life?
Oh yeah. Well, Tina Michelle, who's speaking on this one and was an integral part of that cruise, had contacted a dear friend of mine, Rochelle Kemper, and Rochelle brought me along in that because we were traveling and working together in the metaphysical field at that time, and I've always been grateful for that connection because it's how I ended up in a conversation with you guys. And once I had met you, Jeremy, it's no secret. I had a mission to kind of get to know Jeremy. And it just had this feeling, and I just sort of knew. And then when you had the Reiki, I came down and made sure I was there a little bit early so I could connect and chat with you. And we had a really great Reiki share. It was super fun. I expanded the talents that I thought I wasn't accessible to, right? And Jeremy brought that out in me, which you brought that out. It was really great. But that just was the beginning of a relationship that's been going on for some time. We sat down with dinner with Donna Campbell and had a lot of conversations. We've all worked together since, even done our own things. You guys have done stuff together. We've been involved in the circles, and the ability to recognize that we're not on our own doing things and to have tribe to work with is what we realized we were standing in. The three of us, I remember it was because it was just last month. We're standing in Temecula, California, at the Law of Attraction retreat after that amazing Italian dinner we had.
Oh,
Wow.
yes, yes, yes,
Oh,
yes, yes.
top 10 pizza in the world. I'll just go with number one in the world for me. But while we're standing there, the three of us kind of connecting and going, wow, what is, look at where we are this 5 years later, and we're on our way to the cruise. And the excitement, I have it right now. It's like all the hairs are standing up, right? The excitement of being able to invite and bring other people onto this and participate at this level for this cruise is what I'm really truly grateful for because I found my tribe, right? You guys, we know who we are and we're having some fun and doing different things together, and by sharing that. And creating consciousness and the opportunity for expansion. That's what the Spirit Heart Cruise is for,
Yeah,
and the circles continue. There's so many layers to this that a 10-minute interview couldn't possibly do it justice.
yeah, absolutely. And it's just been so um, profound when, you feel like you have these pinnacle points in your life where it just shifts the direction of your life. And that cruise was one of them. And I feel like we're building this community of people that are really doing this work. And for me, 2008, I had a dream that we were going to start lighting lanterns all over the planet. And that's why I called my ministry Lamplight Group. And we're doing it. Like that just blows my mind away, and it's so
I
exciting for me.
I
So
totally agree. And then my view of that is flipping switches.
yeah,
Right? We're going around and we're encouraging folks to flip your switch on so you can see something a little bit different. So I love the lamplight. I know you've told me that before, but it really just really made sense to me when you explained it just now. I appreciate that gift. Thank you.
absolutely. So everybody, we are going on the Harmony of the Seas, like what Jason said, that we were on the Harmony of the Seas 5 years ago. So the synchronicity of that is that when I was trying to book this cruise, I could not find conference space, and that's one of the pinnacle parts of doing one of these. You have to have conference space, and so except for on the Harmony of the Seas going on in December, it was very challenging. I tried every other month. It wasn't going to happen. So finally, I just booked this because I wanted to get one out there, and it's doing well. I mean, it's in December. It's going out to Galveston, Texas. It's December 8th. We're going to Roatan, Honduras, Costa Maya, Mexico, where we're going to go to the Mayan ruins called Chochaban, which has the temple of the sun god and the temple of the moon goddesses temple. And so our friend Victor Peruta is going to be doing a presentation on psychometry so that he teaches you how to feel things and draw that energy in, especially at the ruins. And then when we go to Cozumel, we're going to go to San Gervasio, which is the temple of the moon goddess. And what's kind of fun about that is that in the Mayan culture, back in ancient times, they had to take like a small boat across that channel into Cozumel to ask the priestesses permission to get married. And if they didn't, they had to take the boat back. They didn't get it, and then come back
Uh-oh.
later on. So it was the one of my tour guides when I went there. He says um, San Gervasio, even though it's not as grand as Chichen Itza or Tulum, it is the equivalent of Jerusalem for the Mayan religion.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the
Neat.
energy there is fantastic. The structures are not as, pyramids, but the energy there is fantastic. And I had a spiritual awakening there. So it's very powerful. And I am very excited to share this with my friends, Jason and many others. So if you haven't put your deposit down, do it. Do it today. You have until September to have it paid off. So, Jason, any last words before we
I,
end?
I encourage anyone that is considering this to jump on board literally with us because the possibilities and the potential is already well wound. We're those of us putting it together and participating and supporting and sponsoring Jeremy. We believe in this and we know what it's going to be, and we want everybody to be along with us. We're going to fill it up with the same energy and the same possibilities, go to these neat places and potentially have those same kind of awakenings. I know Donna Campbell's going to deliver transformation because that's what she does. Right? I know that's my space and yours as well, Jeremy. So there's so much opportunity for folks on this on many levels. I encourage you to take a look and reach out to any of us. We're happy to share with you about what our experience was and answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody, hopefully we'll see you in December. So get on it and get that deposit down. Much love.
I'm Kevin Lee, and I'm a motivational speaker, a purpose coach, a spiritual teacher, two-time author, and I love the life that I've created today because I actually get to travel, I get to serve people of different cultures, different communities, different countries, and I help them discover who they are and to discover what they want from life. What are their dreams? To help people find their communities, to help people find the love that they seek in the world. And especially, I love to help people find their divine purpose. There was a time in my life when I felt I didn't have any of those things. I felt unloved. I felt I had no community. I felt I had no purpose for existing. I grew up in Texas on a big cattle ranch, and I remember my 16th birthday, and that newfound sense of independence really emblazoned me because I left our family farm without permission to go into a neighboring town, spend some of my birthday money. And as I came home, I found that the gate to our property was locked in the middle of the daytime. It made no sense, which really set me on edge. And I eventually made it through the gate, made it up to the house, and went to the front door, and the doorknob was locked, which it never was. And this sense of dread and a sense of truly being unwelcome came over me. And as I entered into the home, there was my father, a very angry looking man. And we had an interaction that was quite traumatic, that ended with the words of, "I don't love you, the family doesn't need you, and you're not welcome anymore." And that was very hard for me to hear that from my family, my community. And as a result of all of that darkness in my life, I really learned about how to build a vibrant community of people around me. And I discovered that when I began to pour into myself first, there was this ripple effect that would give others permission to begin loving themselves. And I can honestly say that I am grateful for the pains in my childhood, because it's from those pains that I now live a life of purpose. So because of what I learned, what I experienced in my childhood, I am passionate about connecting with people who don't feel loved, who feel unwanted, who feel they don't have community, who feel that life has no purpose for them. But guess what? You are here for a reason. If you woke up today and you took a breath, you still got purpose on this earth. I see you. I hear you, because you do matter. I'm Kevin Lee, and I can't wait to connect with you.